packages, right, in all directories and everything, it would be nice to give this project to some other people who might be doing other unit conversion without having to copy file by file. That is accomplished by compressing all these files into what's called a jar file, which is the same thing as a zip file, only that the extension is jar and there's some files in it that you don't have to worry about, but Java will generate for you. Now, the way to create jar files is usually by creating a project and working under things called projects in your IDE. Your IDE is this thing that you use to develop, to write the text and all that. Well, your IDE usually has a project. If you're using JGrasp, like as I am using, you'll have this project here. If you're using Eclipse or something else, there's always a project thing that you can use. So just for the sake of showing you how to do this, I will use JGrasp. Now, it's much better if you start a project fresh and then start coding your classes in the project. But if you don't, like I didn't, right? So I have my classes inside here, my unit converter, inside some folders. I already started dividing classes into folders. Well, I can create a project from these classes. There are many ways of doing it. Most IDEs are simpler than JGrasp in this sense, but I will start. So I will create a new project in JGrasp. Okay, I'll call this unit convert. That's my project. Next, then here it tells me which, it asks me about certain folders. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to leave them blank. Now it asks me to, it just confirms some things, but then it asks me to select which classes should be in this project. So I'm going to say, well, unit converter should be in this project. It'll import it with the package information and everything. Then enhanced unit converter should be in this project. And and then the test enhanced unit converter should also be in this project. And lastly, unit convert should be in the project. So I add all my classes to this project here. Okay. Now my project has these source files. And if I compile, I'll compile it, it compiles everything, and then I can select a class to run, and I run that class. Oh, it'll ask me which class to run. Convert height, that's the class that I'm going to run. It will work as in the video about packages. So 5.9, that would be meters 1.75. So this works. The good thing about this is that then I can package this in one file to distribute. And that's called a jar file. I click on this little jar icon. This comes up, I select jar file, and then all the class files, all the compiled files is what I'm going to distribute. If you want to distribute source files as well, you can do so. The file is going to be called unitconvert.jar. So again, confirmation, and then something about a manifest. You should read about these things, but it's not important for creating a basic jar. And then you create the jar file. You have just created a jar file. Now, where is this jar file? It is in the same folder where your classes live. Here it is, unitconvert.jar. If I move this file and somebody else wants to use it, so say for example, we do this, close all. I'm going to close all the projects as well. So say I'm in a different folder now, okay? And I only have my convert height variable and my convert height Java class. It uses the enhanced unit converter, which is in the jar file. Here's the unitconverter.jar file, right? I need this jar file. The way for this class to be able to read classes that are inside this jar file is for me to change something called a class path. Again, every IDE can do this. In JGrasp, you would go to Settings, Class Path, Workspace. In Eclipse, you do something different. In every IDE, you do something different. And then I'm going to add to the class path. The class path is where will Java look for files. So I will add the path to my unitconverter.jar file. Say OK, apply, OK. And now almost magically, this program will know where to find this. So I can compile this program and run and continue. So I'll compile this program again and then run it, and it will bring up the little window. So height 6.1, and that is 1.85 meters. So it's working, everything is working fine. And remember, in this folder, all I have is this unit convert, this file that's using classes that are inside the package and the package. The key, setting the class path to the right thing. Now here's another demonstration. There's a jar file that I downloaded from the internet that knows how to play MP3 files. And I created a little class called mp3player.java. Okay, that if you read it, when you can look at the videos about file manipulation to understand what's going on here. But basically, I'm looking for this file, which I also have here. This is an MP3 file, and I'm calling p.play. And for p is actually of kind of type player, and player comes from this package, which is contained in this JL 1.0 JL1.0.jar. Okay, if I try to compile this, I'm going to get errors all over the place. So I'm going to get errors like players not found. But again, if I set the class path, if I include that jar file in my class path, so I will include this file in my jar class, in my class path, and then I say OK, apply. I'm including this JL10.jar in the class path. Now if I compile my MP3 player, everything's compiling fine. And if I run it, I will have a little music here. And there it goes. That's how you would use jar files. That's how you create jar files and use them in your programs.